Hey y'all, my name is Gabby, and I have a about to be 8-year-old in a few weeks and a 19-month-old, a 1-year-old. And I was just thinking about how before we have kids, and even when we have kids, we tend to think about what we want to give them, because as parents, naturally, you want to give your kids everything, and a lot of times everything involves so many things that we didn't have that we wish we did have. And I was just thinking about this because I was listening to something and it kind of clicked to me that this everything that we are wanting to give our children typically involves material things. I've heard this a lot over the years. I've said this myself a lot over the years. And like when I think about these conversations and discussions I had with people, them saying they want to give their children certain things, it's always like, oh, I didn't have this type of shoe growing up. I didn't have these type of clothes and I want to give them that. Oh, I didn't have my own room and I want to give them that. Or I never had my own TV, or I didn't have a phone, or I didn't have a game. It's like so many things that we think about giving our children is material, which is cool or whatever. Like, we want to have nice things, and we saw other kids with nice things, and we just we want our kids to enjoy these things in life, and we want our kids to keep up. But I think a problem with this is that so many times it backfires on us. You try to teach them values and everything like that, but at the end of the day, they still come out kind of rotten, kind of spoiled and bratty and ungrateful, even when you continue to reiterate these words and these affirmations to them. It's almost like it doesn't click, or they don't get it. And I think it really makes sense, because you're saying one thing and then you're giving them something else. Most of the time when we give our children these things, we've been doing it since before they were even born, with all the things that we buy for the big baby showers we have and everything. It's like you brought your kid into materialism, and then when you start to see them become something that you don't like, then you're trying to fix it. Then you constantly reminding them to say thank you and whatnot. And it's like, I'm not saying it's too late, but you definitely find yourself in a place trying to turn it around, and it feels like it's not going to turn around. So for anybody who has not had children yet, and you think about this, and even the ones that we do now, and whether you're doing well or it feels like you're sinking, I think it's important to think about the things that you didn't have as a child, or that you want to give your child that you may not have had, that are things that are intangible. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, that stuff that's what counts the most. I realized that my 7-year-old, I mean, it's quality time over everything. I mean, she just loves quality time with her family, and it's so clear to see that that's really what kids think about. Like, when you think about it, if you think back on your life, what would you have preferred? Would you have preferred going to some arcade, or would you have preferred to have like special time with your family? A lot of us don't have special time with our family, so we don't know how to give that to our children, and we don't really see the value. Like, sometimes you don't really see the value in what you're missing when it's something internal and spiritual that you never had. Like, you're going to remember how you always wanted a PS2 and how you didn't get a PS2, and you want to be able to provide your kids with that PS2, but it's not really going to connect to you how you wish when you were playing cards that your mama or your daddy would come and play with you, because it's just like it's your normal. You don't know that your parents coming to play with you is normal. You don't know that your parents making time for you to come into your world instead of you revolving around theirs is normal. So it's normal. So it makes sense that we would grow up and not think to give our children these things. I know kids out there who are like really young, and they're asking for these expensive things like $500 games and $200 shoes, and like my 7-year-old be asking me for, can she have a drone? And I've already told her we're not getting you a drone. Like, no ma'am, you're not getting that. And you know, sometimes kids ask for pricey things, you know, that's normal. But even when she gets the things that she wants, sometimes she like doesn't even say thank you. And I've been teaching her since the very beginning to say thank you. It's, you know, kids just get so wrapped up in these things. Like now, you know, my daughter's birthday is coming up, and you know, we're talking about a party, you know, having her a little party and everything. But my daughter be having some birthday behavior for real. Like last year when she got up for her birthday, when she got up, there was no cake or no balloons or nothing like that, and she was crying her eyes out because she said it was her birthday and we forgot. Like, we didn't forget. We had a party set up for her, and her party was that afternoon. But she just thought just because she didn't have all this like morning extravaganza for her birthday that we just forgot and we weren't going to celebrate her birthday. This year, we were talking about having a birthday party. Her dad is deployed, you know, so he's not here. So I just, you know, wanted to make sure that she have a party. And I was, you know, talking to her about this birthday behavior and stuff like that, and just, you know, making sure that she understands that having a birthday party is very much a privilege. And she said, I'm going to try my best this year to be grateful. And at that point, I just had to dismiss the conversation because I didn't even know what to say, and it really pissed me off. Like, so I was just like, okay, we'll talk about it later. And I stopped it then because I try not to speak to her in moments that I feel angry. So I was like really chewing on that. Like, what in the world? Like, I would try my best to be grateful. Like, girl, we don't have to throw you a party. You know what I'm saying? So I think when we give these kids all these material things, like, it becomes normal to them. And a lot of people don't really feel grateful or thankful for things that are normal for them. And when we plant these seeds as children, we can say all we want to say, give all the lectures and the blah blah blah, but if you still are giving them material things, like, that's what they care about at some point. And where I am now, you know, I didn't know what I was missing that I needed to pour into my children. But it's very important for us as parents to make sure we have emotional maturity, because that helps us interact with our children in a healthy and proper way, first of all. And then secondly, we are able to build up what's inside, so they're not concerned about everything that's going all around them, because we were concerned about the things going on all around us. So we gave them that. Like, even if you were like, I want to give my child a wholesome family, you know, a mother and a father. Okay, cool. But sometimes we get so pressed on having that unit that we're not even looking at the quality of that man. You can't, you know, just be with this guy and everything is great, and you think you're going to give your child this wholesome family, and then he end up being a goofy, you know. So it's like, you gotta look inside. You know, the things that this guy is giving you, you know, that's cool and everything, but it may not be coming from a right place. It may not be sustainable. You know, you really gotta go within other people, and you have to go within yourself as well. And that's something that I'm really seeing now that I wish I would have known before. Like, I wish I wouldn't have put so much emphasis on the outside things that I didn't have as a kid to give my children. Because, like, I feel like now I'm playing catch up to try to get her to see that it's not about the material and it's not about what's outside of you. It's about what's on the inside. But I didn't even know that myself. Like, I constantly was feeling like I needed things on the outside of me to make me happy. So how could I not have unconsciously raised a child feeling and thinking the same way? Christmas is, you know, even a problem too, because she can get 80-90% of the things that she wants, and if there's something that she doesn't want, she'll be like, oh, well, I didn't get the blah blah blah, but you know, all this other stuff is nice. It just be like a shot to the heart, like, well, dang. You know, and it's not like we're not teaching her values and, you know, and morals like we are. I instill this in my children every single day, and some of her thoughts just be, the things that come out of her mouth be like, what in the world am I doing wrong? What in the world am I doing wrong? And I realized, you know, kids can be greedy and they will be ungrateful. I realized that. Like, I remember times where, you know, my nana would take me and my cousins to Chuck E. Cheese. She would tell us before we go in, when it's time to go, it's time to go. I don't want to hear no kicking, no screaming. Let's go. And then, like, we would hear her because she would say this every time we got out of the car. And every time it was time to go, we were like, no, we don't want to go. Can we stay longer? And then she would get mad because she already told us. She was like, y'all kids ain't never satisfied. So I do remember what that was like. But there are just some times where it just seems like she's an empty cup that I have to keep pouring into because she just wants more and more and more and more. And I can't even really get mad at her because I'm like, I started this and now I'm trying to turn it around. So, you know, when we think about giving our kids everything that we didn't have, I think first we need to look at ourselves and look at our internal and our spiritual, and then really think about the things that we wish we had that we didn't have, that were not things that we could touch or things that we could buy. Because you could want your family to be in one household and everybody comes from one mom, one dad, and everything like that. But if you don't know how to love your children, if you don't know how to have compassion for them or help them or be patient with them and all these other things, it doesn't matter how physically wholesome your family is. There's going to be drama and there's going to be pain and frustration and aggravation and just like everything in between. It's not all about what your money can buy your children. It's about what you can pour into your children. And, you know, if there was one thing I wish I knew, it would have been that. And of course you're not able to really fully do that until you look at your own history and you recognize what you loved and what was good and righteous and what was not normal and what should have been normal. Because it was normal for me to play in my room by myself like a lot. I never even thought about asking my mama or my stepdad to come play in my room with me. Like, that was not a thing. Like, it was not an option. But parents do actually play with their kids. Like, so I had to learn to do that. And I had to learn to do that because my kid was so clingy. She never played with her stuff around without me around. And then when she got older, she started asking me to play. And she still asked me to play. She still be wanting me to play with her. Before she went to bed last night, she said, Mommy, can you remind me tomorrow that I need to open my store? Because she be wanting me to be a person, like a customer, to come buy stuff from out of her store. It's like, there's so many things that your child would love for you to do for them that doesn't involve you buying them something. And to be quite frank, kids really do not care. They don't care about that stuff. They really only start to care when they get older in school and things start to become normalized or trendy at school. That's the only time. And, you know, my daughter is 8 and she's still not asking. Like, if she does ask me about something, it's still not that often. Like, she cares more about the things that allow me to have to pour something out of myself versus buying her something. So if you're this person who is giving your child everything that you didn't have, and all of these things are material, trust me, it's gonna backfire every single time. Like, even if you just naturally have a very gracious, thankful child, because truly, like, all of our children don't come out like that. They just don't. But if you have that, that's awesome. But then you got to think about what example are you setting for your child? Are you raising a child that is going to feel like, when I feel bad, when I feel upset about something, I need to go buy something, that I need somebody else to fix my problems for me, that I need retail therapy in order to get out of this rut? You know, you really got to look at the stuff like that to really understand what you're pouring in your child, because it's so much without us even really thinking about it. I don't care what anybody says. Being a parent is like one of the hardest things ever in the world, because you are raising this human to be a good person that's going to add to society in some type of way, or they might hurt society in some type of way. Like, if you really care about yourself, and you really care about the person that you're sending out in this world, parenting is difficult, especially because you never know what you're going to get. I never expected what I have today, and it's brought me through a lot. It's helping me learn a lot, but take the message that it's very important for you to want to give your children more spiritual things that you never had versus things that you can buy from a store. That's it, y'all. I gotta go. Have a good day, and until next time, and peace and love. I'm out.